Hey, Nyakun here. So for today's video, we are going to try and build out, let's call this a full page, right? Probably a landing page, whatever the name you want to give it. But I do have this architecture kind of like website. You might have seen them on Dribble. Yeah, I was sitting down and I was like, why not? Let's make something more fun, something actually out of the normal, the ordinary scene. So let's try and build something out like this with Breakdance and WordPress. So that is what we are going to try and do. So here is my installation. This is a clean installation. I have actually installed Breakdance, and I have also done my global styling and my font and other color stuff, so I am not going to go through that. So first and foremost, let's try and build out a header. So in the header section, let's call this one header, because why not? And then give it to everywhere. We can leave the conditions, add header. All right, in here I'm going to click on edit in Breakdance, the new tab. So in here outside, probably let's use the header builder, right? If we encounter any issue, we'll try and fix it. So this is how the header looks like. There's a logo, and then there's a button here, and there are these little dots. All right, so with that, if we want to actually this one is what, 1440. So if we do want, we can, if we go to size and go to width, I think I might have not have done the width section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see this and then go to global settings and then go to container, and then for sections, let me drag this over here and say this one is 1440, and I think that is good. And yeah, I'm gonna just close that. So in here, if I do put my, I'm gonna include a div inside, and for this div I am going to add an image. So let's do an image. We have an image over there, and then on the right hand side we do have a menu, and I'm going to use the menu builder because I didn't create a menu in the appearance. So there's a menu builder. Let me save this and then go into the structure panel. All right, so let me delete everything over here because we don't want those. We just want this. And with this, the first thing is home, about, project, and services. So home, you can leave that over there, duplicate that, and then this one should be about. The next thing should be services, and then the last but not the least should be project. All right, going back into the home, I'm gonna move a small letter like that. All right, so this is actually good. So this should be the logo, and then this will be the menu items. And when I come back in here, I can, that's the menu. We can make sure that this is when it's vertical like that, which is fine. And as you can see, it's covering like the entire width over here. We are going to fix a few things. I'm going to go into my downloads. I need to find a logo. So this is my logo. And for this logo, I do think I do have it. All right. So let's click here, go to choose. And I am going to, okay, I do have the logo over here already. I could have used an SVG, which would have been a better option, but I did it. All right, so still selecting the div. I'm going to go into layout and then in the horizontal because I want the menu items on the right hand side. Let's do it in between, and also, yeah, I think this is fine. But you can see that the menu items didn't go to the right hand side because the width of this is 100%. We are going to fix that by going into the search and typing in width, and then we're going to click on this small gear icon, and then in here in the width section you can see that there's the wrapper, and then size. In the width section I'm going to click on pixels and change this on to auto. If you want to give it a width, you can give it a width, but if you give it auto, it's just going to cover the width of the item in which is within the div. All right, so we do have this. Clicking back on the div, I'm going to give this one a space of probably 30 pixels, and clicking back on the menu, going into links, and then typography, let's change the color to something more, something better. All right, that is good. And we can see that our spacing is kind of like all over the place. So back into the menu, you can go into yeah, links, and then we can do size. We can remove all the patterns from here, so probably remove all the patterns, and then we can come into space in between, and then we can give this one like 20 pixels. I think that is fine. If we do want to change the typography size, there's a preset here that we can use, which is called 30 pixel regular for the menu. So this is what the menu looks like. All right, I think that is good. The next thing that probably I want to do is to add the button. So let me type in button, choose a button, and then that is good. So that is our button. And in the button, what text do we have? Going back into Figma, find a unique block. I think this is kind of like big for what we do want. All right, so I think this is good. And I want my menu to be more like a sticky at the top, hide later on at the top, probably scroll, hide after probably like 200 pixels. And what is style? And let's make sure that the overlay is like that. All right, so you can see that this is where it's going to hide that. Probably I want to increase this to like 500. All right, and I think that is fine, and this should be good. This whole background thing, I am going to fix that by going to global and then going to buttons and then primary. I'm gonna make sure that when you hover, you don't have any when you hover, you don't have any background showing over there, but text is changing, which is fine. Probably I'm gonna just leave that like that. All right, so this can be our header. We are going to fix the rest later. All right, let me close that. I'm going to do the footer afterwards. So now I'm going to go into building the page itself. So add a new page, and let's call this one false house, and then let's go into publish. That is good, and then edit in Breakdance. All right, so you can see that our menu is over here, which is fine, but this is definitely hiding behind it. Going into add, and I'm going to add a new section. So you can see this, that's a section. I'm going to go into spacing, tap, let's do 400 pixels so that we do have like gap at the top, which is cool. All right, so going back into Figma, this is the design that we do have. As I said, it's all over the place, so we do want this text, so I'm gonna copy everything over here, and then inside the this section, probably let's add a div inside, right? And then within that div, I am going to add a rich text. Open a rich text, and I'm gonna paste everything from here. And probably I might want to either break them down or use the width. So if I go into the styling and the size, I can bring this to, this is 578 pixels for the width, 578. So that you get something like this, but it's not breaking it down as I want. So probably I might want to do my own break to the next line by myself. I think it starts from here. It's rather a delight. All right, so delight, and then the next one is more blocks. Goes to here, and the next one should be this mode, so bacon. Next one should be bold, right? That was bold, so bold is there. Let me bring this up. Next one should be curve, so break this down here, and then we do have what it's, so also break this down, and then white people, so that one is also here. All right, so we do have this, right? And I'm going to go into styling and then go into typography, and then for default I am going to give it a preset of, I think that is what, 24 regular, so I'm going to use this. So we do have something more like that. I'm going to remove this width from there because I already did this, so this should be fine. Probably the line height is a bit too long, so if we actually want to fix that, I might go into, click on this 3 dots, go into global styling, go into typography preset, drag this out over here, and then for this I'm going to go into advanced. Probably I'm going to do 0.95. It's kind of big. 0.7. Interesting. All right, so I think that might be okay. Let me do 0.5. All right, I'm gonna leave this over here. If anything changes that is not good, I'm gonna fix it later. All right, so we do have this text in here. The next thing is to have all of these writings. After that, I'm gonna do the image that are behind. So this writing, I am going to put it inside another div. So let's save this and go into the structure panel. You can see there's a div out here inside this div. So by this div is going to hold the images. The hidden text. So one. You can give this one like an H2, so more blocks, and then go into typography under the styling, go into preset. We already have a preset of this, so this is what we do have, right? Okay, all right, next then is to give it a color. So we can go into effects, and then inside the fill we can change this one to gradient, and then we can choose that gradient. All right, so this is what we do. We do have something is hidden. Something is hiding out here. I don't think this is. All right, let me make sure that this container is actually 100%. Is it 100%? I don't feel like it is, because this thing is overflowing for no reason. Okay, let me save this and then go into the front end and see what is actually happening. All right, so the text is too long, so I'm gonna click back on the section, right? And then I am going to make sure that with the sides, let's have a full width, and then I'm going to go into layout and make sure this is centered. All right, so now we can see the text all around. Okay, so next thing we can do, we can just duplicate this text, right? Duplicate that, come here, replace it with that, and I think this is small build. All right, so this should be good. Okay, so I got this, and I think that is fine. Our next thing is to add the image that are behind. Okay, so let's put a button over there. So let me click in here and then add a button. Where's the button? Where's the button? Okay, button. I'm going to put the button probably inside the bigger div over there. So we do have that, and I'm going to change the text to the text that I want. So which is that. All right, so that is good. We can make sure that we do have a bit of space between this and this, and this is what 100, and let's do 120 because we don't want, so the gap should be like 120, not in between there. But clicking back on this div, going to spacing, I'm going to go into margin tab and do 120 over there, which is fine. And we can do like a 30 pixels. No, inside this div we can do like a 30 pixel for layout, so 30 pixels like that. So we do have space over here, or we can remove that and then go back into this button and then go into styling, and for space we can see the tab is 30 pixels, and I think that is fine. So let's see how it looks in the front end. Okay, so we do have something more like this. Okay, so the next thing is probably deal with the these images, right? Okay, now let me go back into Breakdance. So inside, I'm going to put an image inside the div that holds all of these texts. And with that, let's go into add and then click. Let's add some image. So image number 1. And then with this image, we are going to choose that. All right, so that is the very first image. And you can see that we have text down here. So let me copy this text. We can use the caption. So we can say caption should be this. So that is good. And we can style the caption a bit more by going to caption in the styling, going into spacing, and then we can remove all the padding. But probably the tab we want to have like 5 pixels, or probably like 10 pixels, and that is fine. But you can see that the text over here is on the left hand side. Let me save that, and then I'm going to go into the front end. I'm going to refresh this, and then I'm going to open the developers panel, select the image, and you can see that we do have select the text rather. So there's the text, this is the class. I'm going to copy that class, right? And I'm going to go back into our development panel, and then still image being selected, I'm going to go into the gear icon, into the advanced section, click on select, put the period sign, put a class name, open this a bit bigger, and then I'm going to do text line, and then let's do left. All right, so now you can see that the text moved to the left, which is fine. Let's save that. All right, so next one is to make sure that the image is behind it and it's on top over here. Okay, so to get that done, I'm going to go into still image is selected, go into the search panel, and then type in position. And then with position, I'm going to make sure this is absolute, and I'm going to say give it a 0 pixels, just like that. All right, that's fine. If we give the left also 0, it goes like that, but we can probably increase the place of the left, and then we can also probably increase that also of the top. Bring this down a little bit. All right, and the next thing we can do is where position is searched, we can go in there and then type in index, because we want to take the image behind, make sure that index is, you can do it 1. Even if you do like negative, I think sometimes negative push it all the way to the back, so you can do it 1, and probably clicking back on our text over here, I'm going to give it like an index. Click back here and then index of probably a 2. All right, so I'm going to right click, copy, and then paste settings. Also paste settings, go in here, and then I'm going to type in index 2, and then make sure that this is also, probably it's not going to do anything, but let's put this one also as a 2, and that should be fine. All right, let me save that. Back into the front end, and then let's refresh. All right, so we do have something like this, and when we come, you can see that it looks a bit similar to what we do have over there. All right, so next thing we're going to do is this very one, and for that, let's go back in here. I'm going to select that image, duplicate it, and then I'm going to search for position again, and then as we're going to remove the top and do bottom of a 0, so it can bring it down, and then we, instead of a left, we are going to do a right of 0 too, but we want to bring it all the way down, so probably push this. Or what we can do is that when we select our section, we can go into spacing, and then for that too, we can go like 400 pixels, but you can see that nothing is going to happen to that, so probably let me remove that. But I want to do the 400 pixels because I don't want this to overlap in the next section that comes. So 400 pixels, and I'm gonna go back into this very image, do position, do position over here, and then click on the cog icon, and then for the bottom I'm going to do a 0, and then probably I'm going to do 400. Make sure that it is negative, so it comes all the way down. Let me see where this section is ending. All right, so we do have something like this, and coming back here, let's refresh. So bringing this down, it scrolls up. All right, so we are almost there. Next then is to, I'm going to copy this text, copy, and then go into so this, make sure I select the image, right? Caption, I'm going to change it to that, and remember, make sure you're using the right caption though. Do not just use any other caption. And for image, I am going to choose this. All right, so we do have that done, which is cool. All right, next then is to do the next section. What is that? It's pretty straightforward. You have this button like then here. All right, so button and then gradient background, and yeah, we can, what can we use? It's more like a text thing. So all right, so let's add a new section. So section, and then inside this section we are making sure that from here, all of this is like full width though. All right, I'm going to make sure if I put this one in the middle like that, so let's say left and right is 70 pixels. So I'm going to go into spacing, make sure that this is 70. Or we can do this in the global settings, right? So go into container, and then let's add, probably don't do that. Okay, back into the structure panel. All right, let's add our text and other stuff. I'm gonna deal with that later on. So there's our text. Let me go and copy what we have here. So copy that, paste everything in here. And the size for that is an 18. I don't think I do have an 18 preset over here. So I am going to use the 16, which is fine. And after that, we are going to style this a bit by going into this here, into the advanced, and then in the wrapper, we are going to give it some spacing. What is the spacing around this? 20 pixels on the left and right. So 20, let's apply it to everywhere. And then the top is 10, and then the bottom is 10. You see, and afterwards, back in the wrapper background, in the layer, we want to use a gradient, and then we are going to choose this gradient that we do have here. Back in the wrapper, in the border, we're going to make sure that this is 25, and then let's give it a border radius of what? It has 2 border radius. The width of the border is 2, and I think that is a color. I think that's a color, right? That is the color. All right, so we are done with that. And the next thing is this text over here. Let me copy that, go into add, and then let's add a headline. So everything we copy, we're just going to paste it over here. All right, and for that, we can give this one like an H2. And then for typography, I'm going to preset, making sure that this is also, what's the size? 160, right? So 160, which is good. Yeah, we're gonna fix this, and then after we're gonna go into effects and use fill gradient, and then fill it with that. Okay, so that is fine. Next thing is this text. All right, let's go in here and then add the rich text. Open the rich text, paste everything in here. And then with this, we are breaking it down from the day. And so break this down. And then I think in the world, right? In the world. So also break this one down. And yeah, go into styling, typography, default, preset. We are going to use the 24, which is good. And yeah, and then after that, I think we do have a gallery. So let's go into add again. And then I'm search for gallery, add a gallery. And remove all the images, add media, and I think these are the pictures that we are using. So from here to here, and if we want to fix it later, we can fix that. All right, I'm going to remove all the settings here, everything in here. I'm going to make sure that we don't want to light box. We can do a full, and we can also do lazy load since it is down below. And in the image, sorry, layout, right? We want a grid, a column of 4, right? And aspect ratio custom. Okay, I might need to do my own thing. All right, so for height, let's see what's the height here. Let's say 600. Right, so let's do 600. Right, and for 600, we do want some gap in between, right? What is a gap in between? Let's say 10 pixels. So 10 pixels like that. Is that how long these images are? I'm gonna change this one to like 550, even probably lower. All right, I think that is fine. And back in that section, right, I am going to change the width to full width. And then save that. I'm going to go into my my global settings in the section under the container in here, drag this here because I want the is it horizontal? All right, so horizontal to be 70 pixels like that, which is fine. And back in that same section, Space in between should be like 30 pixels. All right, yeah, you can do 30 pixels, but I can see that these three things are grouped together. So I'm going to select that, give it a div, and then put this in here, and this text also in there. Select that, and then probably give it like 30 pixels for that, and then the space in between here should be 60 pixels. This 30, and then that's 60. All right, so that is fine. We can save that. This then is probably giving me a headache. All right. All right, so this is good. Let's check the front end and see what we've done so far. Okay, we do have something like this, but this image is not, it's not it. All right, going back here, making sure that this is the 600. I think that is fine. And yep. Okay, next thing is to build the next section out. So next section is this line, this thing that looks like a tab. It can be a tab, or it can be yeah, I think it's a tab, right? Okay. So save that, add a new section, and for the section to get the line, I am going to, let me save this and go into the structure panel, collapse everything. So with this, I'm going to go into border, and I'm going to click on top. Let's give this one like 2 pixels, and then for color, we are going to use this gray. All right, so we can have that. All right, so I think that the border, all right, whatever the color is, I think that's fine. All right, say let's continue building something out. All right, so for the let's do a tab. All right, advanced tab, right? Is it normal tab or advanced tab? All right, I might need the advanced tab because I want to add other things like images. So let's do a tab and then click on advanced tab. Okay, so we have something like this. We don't want the line. We want this thing to be on the left. Don't know if we can even do that. Okay, left. All right, and what else? All right, good. You can also do a bar. All right, so I think this is fine. And probably I might remove the background color. Active. So active, background color remove, but text color is there. So that is good. And for this, we are calling it chapters. Okay. So in here, let me change this one to a chapter 1. And then let's delete everything. And then let's duplicate everything here. Probably let me not do that. Let me do one, and then I'm gonna just duplicate it later on. All right, and in here we are in the table of content. Remove that, remove that, remove that. The only thing that probably we want in there is so this container, remove this color, and border, remove the padding, layout gap is 24. I'm gonna remove that too. Okay, so inside this tab, what we do want is there's a text here. All right, so let me go into add, and then let me add that text, copy everything and paste. All right, what is the size? I don't think I have this, so let's make this one an H2. Go into typography. I'm going to give this one 30 pixels. It's all caps, so probably I might need to do a custom one, and making sure that this is all caps like that. And for effect, I'm going to make sure that we do a gradient and pick this, which is good. Yep, I think that is fine. Clicking back in here, make sure this is centered. And the next thing is to add an image. So images here, choose that image. What image is the first one? Is the views image. Okay, so that is fine. The next thing you can see that we do have this line over here, this line. And probably the best way to do this is probably I'm going to group it, right, and then export it as an SVG. I'm going to use it as a background image. So let's call this one background lines. All right, and from there I'm going to go into my development tab. Is still selected, background. I'm going to go into this. enter this tab over here, go into advanced, go into wrapper, background. You can change the layer into like an image, and then what I'm going to do is what I just exported. Where is it? Where are the background lines? Okay, where did I save this then? Yeah, it's here. So why can't I see it? Opening back this. All right, so it's over here. Okay, so let me just pull that in. So I'll bring this one in like that. And all right, so you do have something just like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that this is no repeat, and also let's make sure that the position is center. And yeah, what else can we do? Next, then probably going back in here, right? You can show this comes down. All right, going in back into size, I am going to say when you do contain, this is what it looks like. What about if you do custom and width is, let's say width, if I do auto for width, nothing will happen. But for height, if I say giving a height of 1080, where is it? I can't see it. All right, so for size, I'm just going to do contain, right? I'm gonna leave this just like that. And let's also back in that tab, when we go into the styling, we can go, and then for gap, if we do like 30 pixels, you do have something more like that, which is fine. Yeah, it's not the worst thing. We couldn't bring it down probably, so that is fine. I'm not going to stress that. One thing more, so you can see that this one has this color thing over here. Probably to get that might be a bit difficult. Yeah, I think that might be a bit difficult to do, but let's see if there is that typography. Okay, there's text here, typography. Yeah, you cannot fill that with a gradient, which is sad. So I'm just going to use this, and when it is active, so let's go, this is background, but when it is active, where is it? Typography. Okay, active. All right, so I think that is good. Okay, when you hover, going back into type, so when you hover, I want to do this color rather. All right, so I think that is fine. And the next thing is to just duplicate this, that. All right, and to make sure that we can leave this back for the images. So for this, I'm going to change the image to I did 3 images here, so this one should be this, and then for the third one, for the image 2, I want to change it to that, and then let's save that, and then we can also change this one to chapter 2, come in here and then change this one also to chapter 3. We can also fix a bit of the typography, because I don't think that is a size. It's a 42, but we can give it like a 30. So going to styling, so for text, typography, preset, change this one to 30 pixels like that. And the space between these items are not the greatest, so let's see whether we can fix that. Space in between. All right, I can leave that over there. Space after. All right, so this space after, let's do that as a 60 pixels. And I think that is fine. And yep. All right, so inside that same section, we do have something more like this. How are we going to make this? Okay, let's save that. There are so many ways to do that, but probably we might take the simplest way. So add a div, and within that div, we are going to have like 4 divs, right? So div number 1, and this div is going to have an underline, so a decor line, All right, oh, it's a divider. So let's do a fancy divider. And then for fancy divider, we are going to make sure this is a solid. And then let's say this is 1, and then the color should be probably that. I can barely see it. Let's make sure also the width is 100%. Why is it? All right, back into the section. What I'm going to do is we need some space here. But where is this line though? Oh, is it because of this? I can't see the line. All right, next thing I'm going to do is to add probably a text. Probably text is going to reveal it. So let's do just a normal text. Put it at the top. Inside this divider, let's give it like what's the space afterwards? $20 pixels. So let's do 20 pixels. All right, so we can see it now. And for this text, I'm going to copy everything from here. Okay, and for this, we are going to make sure that font size is 70 pixels. I definitely don't have that. All right, so inside typography, I am going to let's do it 30 pixels like that. I think that is fine. And as you can see, we do have something more like this, which is a bit tricky. So we might have to take this div out of this container first, or we can work around it. But let's give it its own div, right? No, its own section. Bring this into this, and then within this section we are going to do 0 pixels all around. And then for width, I'm going to do a full width. All right, and let's scroll down. And I'm going to give probably like this 400 so I can see what is at the bottom. Oh, not 4,000. All right, and I think that is fine. So for this, let's see what this is. 1200. Let's say 1200, right? So I'm going to go into this div, and then inside the divider, the width, I'm going to do 1200 pixels, which is fine. And probably I need to fix this. So what I'm going to do is save this and then go into global settings, right? And then inside typography, go into presets. And then for presets, I want to make sure that create a new preset. Let's call this one 72 pixels, right? And then Satoshi. And then for that, I'm going to give this one custom. And then I'm going to open more blocks utility. And then do a clamp generator. This is 72 pixels. So let's say 72 pixels. I'm going to leave this at 32. Copy what we do have here. Probably let's do this one 1920, right? And then copy what we do have here. Come down here and then just paste it. And then for weight, this is a medium. So I'll give this one 500. And then I'm going to give this one like 1 pix, just 1 for the custom. And that is good. I am going to come down here and then choose that. So we do have something more like this. And after that, the next thing to do is to push this to the left hand side. All right, so this being selected from left is 252, right? All right, so let's go into here, right? And then go into advanced, go into the wrapper, and then for spacing, we can do margin of, let's say 250, and then we can save that. I want to see how it feels in the front end though. Let's refresh. All right, so we do have something like this, which is good. As you can see, typography is, and then we do have this that has like a different color. All right, so let's try and do that. So going back in here inside the text, so that's, we're going to wrap it with a span. So let's do span, and then let's close the span at the back. And then what I'm going to do is give it a class. The reason why I'm using a class rather than Let's give it txt. Yeah, let's do just txt, right? I think that is fine. Let's copy that and then go back in here, and I'm going to remove the selector and give it a class of that, and let's open and then give it a color, and then I can come down in here. Okay, we can use a variable if we do want. If let's say we want to use a color from here, like where's that color? So this color palette, this very one, we can use a variable. We can just copy that. So let me just copy and paste that over there. Close it. All right, so you can see that it's working nicely. And I'm going to duplicate this div. Duplicate it again. How many do we have? We have 4. And then duplicate it again. All right, and I'm going to copy that for the front. So this one is called unique, and then the one in the back, I am just going to copy this one too, and then paste it right here so that I don't have to touch this. And then the rest is that. And let me just copy, paste. Next one is also this. Also paste that over here. Okay, so we do have something more like this, and probably inside this div I am going to give it a spacing, a top margin of probably like 10 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and then paste design here. So paste design here. All right, and let's save that. So we do have some breathing space for it. All right, so we do have this, which is a replica of what we do have over here. All right, the next thing is this very thing. It can be a bit tricky. We can export the entire thing of this as background image if we do want, or we can use a div to create the circles. So whatever way that it is, probably let me drag this out and let me export that as a PNG. Let's call this circular image. Let me save that, and we can go into our dev. All right, and let's save that. Open the structure panel, add a new dev. No, probably this dev. Let me collapse everything and bring this dev down. All right, making sure that making sure that this is just 90 pixels, which is fine. All right, so inside our very new div, we are going to add whatever this is. Okay, to do that, probably I am going to use the 1440. I'm not going to use it. Probably let's do a full width, right? All right, so size and then full width, and inside the full width, what I am going to do is add the text. We do have this text, and then whatever that is. So let's add should I add a div? And then let's add the text inside the div. If that is not necessary, I'll remove it. But adding the div, giving this one h2, and then okay, and here size is 100 pixels. Probably I'm not going to use 100 pixels. I'm going to use the 72. So let me use the 72, and then go into effect, and then text, not shadow, but fill into gradient, and then let me choose this gradient. And then let's add a button, right? I can just go and copy this button. Why not? Paste it. Oop, copy the wrong thing. Button, copy, come down, paste, and then that is good. All right, and then in this, I'm going to put this one to the left, and then click on the section right, go into layout and put this one in the middle. Cause it's centered like that. And the next thing is to probably add the image. I think I should add the image like as a normal image and then put it into the background, or probably not. All right, so background image, and then we are going to upload what I just exported. I think the size is probably too big. What is the size? Yeah, I should convert it to a WebP. All right, so in this, you can see that it's full image settings, size, contain, repeat, no repeat, And also let's give this some breathing space to the section. So section selected, collapse, and then inside here let's do this one like 120. And then oh, okay, I see what it is doing. Let's do another 120. It keeps scaling up. All right. Okay, background settings, right? Auto, custom. Right, for custom, what's the size of this? Wow, it's pretty huge. All right, what I'm going to do is, the size for the let's do this one 800 pixels, right? So selecting this, I am going to remove this whole spacing thing, and then I'm going to do custom height of 800 pixels, right? And then okay, looks like 800 pixels is definitely too huge. Let's do 650, even too big. All right, 500, and then go back into image settings, and then let's so we can give this one a height of 400. All right, probably like that. And then when we go into position, we can do left center, so at least around this size. Clicking back on our section, going into layout, make sure this is in the middle, and I think that is fine. Let me refresh and see how it feels here. All right, maybe not the best replica. Probably we want to put it in the middle. Let's say position center. I think that is better. Yeah, I think center is better. We can do our own thing. All right, you know what I'm going to do? Clicking back on this section, I'm going to make sure that when I go into size, I'm not going to do full width anymore. And then, okay, that is still not going to fix the issue that I think this has. Probably the best solution is going to the position. You can give it like a custom. Yeah, like custom something. All right, let me save that and then refresh. You do have something like this. It's not the worst thing, you know. All right, yeah, I'm gonna just leave that. I think that is fine. Okay, next thing that we're gonna do is this very one, which should be simple, right? This is what 1080 for a section. So let's add a new section. So section, and then inside this new section, height, I'm going to do custom height of 1080 pixels. Okay, and for this, I'll probably, since 1080 is mostly like the height of all screens, we can do like full viewport or whatever. All right, background, we're going to use an image. You already have this image here, so it's like that. And yeah, I think that is that, and we can add some text on the left hand side. So let's add a div that's going to hold like the one at the top. All right, probably don't add a div since, all right, I'm going to add a header, pull it to the top so that it can be for that. And with this is 150. I'm going to use this typography. I think we have 160 here. I think that is fine. Probably I'm going to do custom and then go in here and probably do 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 9, 8. Let's say 8, 3. All right, I think that is fine. And the text at the bottom is this, which is a regular 24. I'm gonna add just normal text, paste this in here. And for this, we are breaking down from down here, go back into text color. I think that's a text color. It's a real black. So let's choose this black. And then we do have a button. So I'm going to copy this button because why not? Paste it into that div. But this should be our secondary button. I don't think I styled the the secondary button. So I'm gonna save this, go into global styling, and then go into buttons, and then secondary. Let me put this over here. Outline, no fill, and make this on the center, and then it's a black. So I'll go into, when you go into here, I can choose that. All right, so I think that is fine. Why is this? Why is a big gap over here? I think it's because of this text. All right, something is not, it's not right here. Let me save that. And there's a gap there, but it's cool. All right, selecting back on this section, I am going to see there's a full width. So what I'm going to do is go into size, and then for this I'm going to do a full width, and then I'm going to layout. Since I want this one to come all the way to the bottom, I'm going to go into horizontal, is vertical on desktop, and then for align I'm going to choose space in between, and we do have that. But I am curious why. Oh, this one has spacing. That's why. All right, so let's say 10. What's the space in between these two things? 20 pixels. All right, so save that, go into front end, refresh, and then we do have this over here, but we change typography here. All right, going into the back ends, click on that, going into effect, fill, gradient, and then let's choose that. All right, so we are done with that section 2. Let's collapse all the sections. Next, then what is the, oh yeah, here at the footer. Look at that, we are at the footer now. Okay, so we need some breathing space for this. So since this is selected, since I can use spacing, let's give this one like 120. Okay, so let's go to spacing, margin bottom 120. Yeah, all right, I think that's fine. We need to add our footer, but let's see what we are doing in the front end. How are we feeling now? Okay, not bad at all. All right, so next thing to do is to create a footer. All right, I'm gonna go exit and then go back into the dashboard. Inside Breakdance, go to footer, add footer, call this one footer, right, and apply everywhere, add, and then we edit in Breakdance. All right, so for the footer, you can see how it is. This one might be a bit challenging, but let's see how we are going to achieve that. So we do have like divs, and when you hover on the divs, the color goes away to reveal the div. All right, okay, let's do section, right, and then inside the section we are going to, wow, this is going to be challenging. How are we going to do this? All right, let me add the text, right? So do a text. What's the size? Okay, this 320, right? Okay, let's add so heading text, or just a normal text. Don't do heading text, just a normal text, because this is not header. And then let's add copy, paste it, and then in here we are going to do presets, and then choose that, right? Make sure that the width of the section is a full width, and then everything inside the section is also centered. Clicking back on here, I'm going to go into effect, fill, gradient, and do that. All right, duplicate, paste. All right, and that is fine. Probably put this inside a div. Let's bring this div to the top. I'm putting it inside the div so that I can align it properly as I want. All right, so I think this is good. And the next thing that we want to do is to have these things in the back. So this is going to be a div inside a div with a lot of divs. All right, so I'm going to do that. So let's add a div here, right? Let me make sure this div is not is by itself. All right, so there's the div. I'm going to make sure that this div is 100%. It is covering the entire spectrum. So selecting back on the section, making sure that in the spacing here is 0, here's also 0. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is self-selecting this. I need 3 divs inside. So let's add 1 div, and then 2, and then probably I'm gonna just do 1 and then duplicate later. So this is the div, right? And inside this div, I'm gonna make sure that it is also full width. And then let's go into background image. I am going to select, what is the first image, which is this. All right, so let's select that. And then in here, go into overlay. The first color is going to be, I think it's going to be probably that. Right. So when you hover, so click, you see this opacity, I'm going to click on that for hovering and then make sure it is 0. So when you hover, yeah, it didn't go away. All right, wait. So when you hover, okay, now it's working. All right, so image go, the color goes away and reveals the image. All right, so that is all we want. I'm going to duplicate that, and then I'm just going to change the images. Second one is this. So, and then the third one is that. All right, and then for this color, is that the last one? And this is for this, and this one needs its own color. So I'm going to pick, I do have some colors. I'm going to pick one of these. Let me just pick a gray, because at this time and moment, I don't. All right, I think this is fine. So we do have these 3 colors here. And for these 3 colors, when you hover, you can see that this is what happened. All right, so clicking back on this div, what I am going to do is probably I'm going to do position, right? And then I'm going to do an absolute position. And then clicking back on our section, make sure that everything is centered like this. So when you hover, you do have something more like this, which is cool. It's not the best replica of what we do have, but it works, right? It works. And probably, let's see, maybe we can put everything in here. I think that is fine. I think this is fine. We don't have to overdo this. And then when we go into the front end and then we refresh, and I go into the bottom, what is my, okay, something is not showing up here. Let me save this. Oh yeah, I know why it's not showing, because there's no like, there are no heights to these things. So what I'm going to do is inside container, let's give it a height. What's the height over here? 200 pixels. So 200 pixels. Click this, go into container, 200 pixels. And then with this one to container, 200 pixels. Let's save that, and then when we refresh, it should show. Yep. You know what we can do? All right. Okay, so I think we have done something, right? And probably we might want to make this a bit responsive, which is going to take a bit of time. But let's see how responsive we can make this. All right, so first thing first is the header. All right, so for header, when we come in here, so I'm going to select this, and when I go into layout, start never, and then selecting back on here, what I am going to do let's go into, you can only see that when you go in here. So mobile starts from here, and with this I'm gonna go into here, typography, first level. I'm gonna change that to this, right? I think that is good, and yeah, I think that is fine. Probably, let's say that background, so this background, let's give background that, or this, probably this, right? And also I am going to size. What is making this very long? Something is making this a bit longer than it should be. All right, let me just save that. And this is good for beginners, right? Okay, let's go back into let's see how it looks on other. Okay, I'm making sure that for spacing 0. Okay, and then let's do like 20 20 10 10. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is fairly good. And then let's go into this. All right, so when we go into, you can see that we can do more with this. Definitely we can do more with that. And yeah, we can also fix this too. All right, but apart from that, the rest we are going to get them also fixed. All right, so this here is not the worst thing, but the images, we might actually want to probably move them. So I clicked on modify, so every modification I've done, so absolute. And then for top, we can do a 0. I can leave the top over there, and then for left, probably you can do a 0. And let's do 400 negative, right? And then also click on this one, and then go into modify, making sure that this is also absolute. And then for right, we can do negative 400 too. So we have something more like that. Clicking back on this button, going back into the desktop, I'm going to make sure that my bottom has an index also of a 2. So that when we come into building this, it doesn't look too off. Okay. And probably, since this is going to become a bit smaller, let me save this, go back into the header. And then when I go into here, I want to make sure that I also fix the spacing issue. So 20 all around, I think that is fine. All right, and then let's go back into the home. So when we do here, we do have something like this. So what I want to do is, for my section, I do have some spacing. Let me put this one to a 0 and then make this 120, which is fine. And yeah, I think that is good for this very one. I think that is good for this images. I'm going to go into styling, and for I think layout, right? Okay, so that is where the problem is. Okay, not the best representation. I think doing masonry is probably justified. All right, let's go back into desktop, right? Row custom height. If I do 600, the thing is that you cannot change this on other screens, which is all right. Let's go into grid and aspect ratio. Not my best moment. Okay, something is not right here. I'm gonna save that. Let me refresh. All right, so in here, going back into layout, let's do, if you do masonry, you can get something like this, which is not good. This is a grid, and let's do a grid of 3. Sorry, grid of 4. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave this one as that and go back in here. If you go back into a grid, I can do a grid of 2. I think that is fine. And this is good. Typography is already responsive because we're using clamps. So I consider our type is good. This is fine for the design that we were going for. So I wouldn't stress it. This too is not the worst, but probably maybe reduce the size of this a bit to like 800, right? I think even go down a bit more. Let's do 700. Okay, we do have this too. Probably we might want to make this a bit responsive later on. And okay, on here, not our best moment, but it's not the worst. Going down in the chapters. Okay, all right, so probably in here, go into modify, and then I'm going to do a 0. I'll probably do like a 10. All right. All right, and we can just copy and paste settings. Copy and paste settings. I think that is fine. For this too, we can probably, you might want to do a bit with your coloring and your typography and other stuff like that. But type is not, it's definitely not the issue here. Paste settings here too. And I think this is good. Going into your phone. Okay. All right. So in here, probably what I want to do is a bit of spacing. Make sure the spacing is not the worst thing. So global settings, and then for container, so horizontal, like on mobile, we want to do like a 20. I think that is fine. And also clicking back on, let's save that. Let me collapse everything here. Is the spacing 0 at the bottom? Okay, so we have an issue with this, which we will fix. It will need some fixing. All right, for this, selecting on this section, I am going to reduce the size. Definitely reduce the size to a custom and do like 300. Okay, let me do 300, right? And then going into background image, let's do contain, right? So a 300 is probably the bigger size. So going into size, can reduce this. Okay, not reducing for whatever reason. All right, so let's say 300 is okay. And for everything in here, let's align it to the center. And probably we want to do a bit more with color later on, but we will see what happens. Okay. All right. So this one, let's select the image on the left, go to modify, make sure that I have selected absolute. And then for the left hand side, we're going to do -200. Okay. And then for this one too, clicking on modify, make sure this one is absolute. And then for the right, -150, or probably you gotta go all the way here. Okay, let me save that. Okay, let me save this, and then I'm gonna go into our footer. So when I go in here and I go into landscape, okay, so I'm going to click that and then change the height to, let's say, 100. So copy that and then paste and then paste this, save that. And let me go here and then refresh. And then for this, I'm going to open the developers panel. I want like a tablet kind of vibe. Go into tablet. I don't know why it is pushing this all the way to the right. But it should look something more like this and then like that. Going, if we do 100 here, probably on other smaller screens. So let's say when we go into this, I want to change the height to probably like 60. And which one is selected? Okay, the bottom one. So copy that, paste design, paste design. I'm gonna have to change the color. And then on mobile, right? On mobile, probably let's do this like a 50. Oh, this for width, no width. I'll probably let's do like 35. And then let me copy it, paste design, and then for this, let's just try and then change the background colors. Go into desktop and then change the background colors. So overlay, color of that, and then this one too. Go into background and then go into overlay, and then overlay color of this. All right, let me save that. I'm gonna go into the front. So when you do tablet, okay, it's small enough. When you do this one, it's also small enough. Here too, yeah, I think it's small and it's fine. Nothing too extravagant. And then, all right, so let me just do a few more quality assurance stuff. So I'm going to change the size of this to, let's say, custom 500. And then probably for like the spacing at the top, let's do like a 40, and then also a 40 here. And when we go into a smaller screen, I think it's good. And this, you have to scroll to see everything, and then there's the type. All right, so for this type, probably I want to give it a preset of 24. Right, probably not. Let's do the 30, so 30 pixels, right? And then let me save this, and I'm gonna make a new global preset. And then let's call, what's the size over here? There's 42. So let's give this one 42 pixels, and I think that's fine. And to Satoshi, and then we're gonna make this one custom. I'm gonna open a utility, and let's say this is 42. And when we go into smaller screens, I'm gonna just do 24, or even like a 20. And let's copy that, and I'm gonna paste that over here. Let's do a 500. This being selected, I'm gonna change this one to 42. Right. Next then, since this is all caps, make sure that this is all caps too. All right, and let me see how it feels on smaller screens. Okay, it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing. Probably I want to reduce it to probably like an 18. So let me open utilities again, and then for this, I'm gonna change this one to like an 18. Change this one to a 42. I copy that. Going back into desktop, going to the preset. I'm gonna change this one to what I just did here. And then when I go into mobile, it should look something more like this. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into size and then probably break it down to like 50%. I think that is good. Okay, so probably here too I want to do 50%. So let's go into tablet, right? And from here on, let's do 50% for it. And then when I go in here, I want to remove what I did and also put it onto pixels, and I think that is fine. So we do have this at 50%. And for this very ones, which they do not, going back down here, you can see that this ones, they don't have, for typography, it is also not scaling down properly. So even I give this one like a 42, right? And then when I come into like mobile, it becomes small enough that we can still see it. And even though it's that, we can do like space in between to be like not that space in between to be like 10 pixels, so you can still like come around. And I do think there's a pattern on it. So what I'm going to do is go into desktop and I'm going to remove the pattern on these. So go in here, vertical pattern, and then horizontal pattern, and then the space in between, let's do like a 20 pixels, maybe 30 pixels, 40 pixels. When you go into, yeah, I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And yeah, we can save that. And for this, I think what I'm going to do is when I go into modification, I'm going to do a 0 here, right? And then I'm going to click on that cog icon and then put padding. And then for padding, I'm going to give like 10 pixels and then 10 pixels, right? And then what I'm going to do is just copy everything. Okay, I'm doing it on the wrong side. I'm going to go into somewhere things are overflowing a bit. All right, so for here, I'm going to give it a 10 pixels here, and then 10 pixels also over here, right? And then I'm going to come here and then copy everything and paste it. All right, so when we go into like smaller screens, we can have that 10 pixels over there so that it's not touching. Go into modification, remove that. All right, so we do have something more like that, which is fine. Okay, something is not right here. So in here, what I am going to do is I am going to remove the default. I'll leave it just like that. Let's save that. And probably let's keep it 16, which is fine. So that when we get into like smaller screens, it's not like stacking as we saw over here. Right, so that is gone. What I'm going to do is on this one, spacing. Okay, I think that's fine. And that's also fine. All right. All right, there's an overflow. There's a huge overflow coming from our top section. So let's go in here and then type in overflow, and then let's hit in, and then it should be fine. Let's save that so that when we come into the front end again, let me refresh this, we have a nice design that is fully responsive. All right, so this is probably like an hour 20-minute build. Everything is probably like custom. There's a few pre-made blocks from Breakdance that were used, and most of the time you might want to, as I say, you might want to think about your colors. These are not the best colors that you want to use, but you might actually want to think about your colors, your typography, your layout. Yeah, for layout, as I said, you can go out of the normal. Then you can do things that are not actually too traditional. There are a few things that are not like too traditional that you can do, because hey, who is going to beat you up if you choose whatever that you want to do? Nobody, right? Build as you want, and I think that should be good. All right, my name is Nyakom. If you found this video informative, educative, you can give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can also subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you should see the design in more blocks as soon as it is ready to be moved from here to there. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.